I'll bet it was impressive as hell at the time. I was thinking it's a lot like the Terminator in terms of budget and quality.
Can't imagine why.
And yeah, really, right?
No, Terminator had a bigger budget than this.
With the aliens reference behind Tad there, and then the exploding tanker truck at the end. It was like, hello, that was only a couple of years earlier that we had an exploding tanker truck for the teeth. And I fully expected the vampire to come walking out of it, but I guess
I'm glad he didn't.
Me too. I guess you can burn vampires in this reality.
Yes, they are subject to
aliens? That must be.
Can barely hear you, Jim.
Yes,
Jim, turn up a little bit.
Can you go up? Can you pump your volume? Pump up the volume.
Who, me?
Jams.
Yeah, there you go. That's better.
Yes. Yeah, it's better.
Okay, I'll just talk like this.
Just lean in. Yeah, there you go.
ASMR Jim.
Well, every vampire movie, like every zombie movie and every witchcraft movie, it has to have rules, right? This fantasy world has rules.
They say like standard vampire rules to me.
They don't collapse into ashes the moment sunlight hits them. They start to smolder a little bit.
Yeah, right.
And then eventually they burst into flames and explode.
Yeah, and catch fire to whatever building they're in and burn that down too.
Yeah, well, it's important to the plot that that's the way it works in this universe.
Right.
Otherwise, the story couldn't play out the way it does.
That's true.
Yeah.
It made
also they don't have any reaction to religious symbols.
No,
because Lance Henderson's gun has the cross on the grip of it, and that reminded me.
Maybe they're Jewish vampires.
Yeah, they might be Jewish vampires.
They can't stand the starved damn.
Although
that was
good gag. He did in fact fight for the South in the Civil War, so I doubt he was Jewish.
Well, no.
Or maybe they're acclimated because they're in Texas, and they're in Texas. You have to. Oh no, they're supposed to be in like the Arizona or something like that.
They're in Texas, and then they're in Kansas, and then
there's so much.
They're in Oklahoma, though, I thought.
Probably, I mean, they go back and forth. But
yeah.
They're Odessa at one point.
Yeah,
but
I think he had a treasurer. The secretary of the treasury was Jewish. First one
for the Confederacy.
Yeah.
He pretended he wasn't.
This is part of the short-lived Arizona Runaway production thing. They did Bill and Ted in Arizona and did this in Arizona because for a while it was a good tax haven.
So San Dimas isn't really shot in San Dimas?
San Dimas was actually almost all in Phoenix.
Sorry to burst your bubble, John.
Sorry,
man.
My
God, I gotta go.
Oh no! We lost him.
Well, that's the end of this.
Okay, so I have some thoughts about this, and it's weird because it's gonna sound like I'm just being kind of narrow, but Lost Boys came out the year before, right?
No, it was actually
this year and after
later
this same year.
All right, then I'm going to take back a large amount of stuff I was
rather watch this 1,000 more times than watch Lost Boys.
I would rather watch Lost Boys 1,000 more times than I'd watch this one. That's the thing I was going to say. I thought that film was clearer. I thought it was funnier. I thought it actually was better photographed. I thought it was better acted.
Everything that's good about this movie turned up to a significant portion. Like this is Lost Boys, but real dumb.
Yeah, thank you. It's really dumb, and it doesn't have that wonderful spark that Lost Boys had in terms of like having just kind of
it doesn't have a star turn like Kiefer in Lost Boys at all.
No.
I mean, Paxton brings it, but I mean, he's just sort of in the crowd there.
Lance Henderson brings it too. Like Lance Henderson chews every bit of
that dude is, oh my god, yes.
Moment he's in this movie, and I appreciate the shit.
I do question some of the line readings.
But his scenery chewing is really good.
Oh, it's so good. It's the absolute best part of this movie is how much like Lance Henderson might have eaten 2 or 3 Oldsmobiles during the making of this movie.
They also had that wonderful scar they put on him.
It's good makeup, that scar.
It kept switching between scenes.
Also, and this is like a personal thing. Jenny Wright, I thought did a pretty good job, although she's a little whiny. I thought as like a
drop dead gorgeous.
He's better as Vasquez or whatever.
But that's just a personal thing.
So good.
The personal thing for me is that Jenny Wright reminds me a lot of a girlfriend I had in high school.
Are we talking about which one? Which character is she?
The ingenue. The
ingenue. Yeah, because you guys are talking about the one that plays Vasquez.
No, that's Vasquez. She was fun.
I was talking about her.
Yeah. And John Connor's foster mom.
Yeah, but Jenny Wright was in. She was in.
In Pink Floyd's
The Wall, and she was in World Turning
Dark.
Yeah.
Man,
she reminds me too much of a girlfriend I had in high school, so I couldn't really enjoy watching her.
Also, this whole casting
in high school too, Scott, and that's why I couldn't enjoy her.
Okay. Well, there it is. I'm glad to hear that.
This whole casting was entirely because Kathryn Bigelow and
Cameron
were getting together during.
Michael Biehn almost played the.
He did, which would have been way better.
Would have been way better.
Yeah.
Oh, played the brother there.
No, actually, he would have taken the role of that.
Star
Caleb.
No, he wasn't going to play Caleb. He was going to play Jesse. He was going to play Jesse. The Lance Henriksen part. Yeah.
Oh wow, that would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
It would have been, but I like that they had an older guy in the pack of vampires too, because they had the kid.
But also, like it's just like it's so obvious that it's like, hey, all these people worked well in my movie, and they need work, so they should be in your movie. Like it very much feels like that kind of production where it's like you're making this movie for $20 in the desert. Anyway, have my friends.
Yes.
It's what Roger Ebert calls a woozy "Where's my paycheck" movie.
Oh, God bless you, Robert.
So they weren't
Roger
divorcing at this point. Is what you're
saying? They weren't even married. They actually weren't married at this point.
They were just going out. The part where he drives by and flicks the bird out the window, that was actually Cameron driving by. Yeah.
I knew he had a cameo in this, but was he cheating with her at the time? Because Caroline Hurd was the missus, right?
Yes.
I don't know if he was cheating
together on Aliens.
I always forget that he was also married to Gale Ann Hurd.
Yeah, who produced Alien and Aliens. I mean,
wow.
It was involved somehow in the Abyss and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. But I know.
Don't make me think of better movies.
Yes, exactly. I thought
this thing's got in the 80s I didn't know the term set pieces, but this is a movie that definitely is built around a couple of set pieces, right? So there's the bar room thing where they kill everybody.
Which was really good. That was fun.
That's the best part of the movie.
I disagree. I think the escape from the warehouse where the cops are shooting all the holes through the walls.
Well, that was even better, actually.
It's not a warehouse.
Even better.
That's the one to me.
It's not a warehouse. It's
what
a
is
fucking,
it?
It's a motel.
Oh, it's the motel.
It's
I was thinking it was earlier in the warehouse, right?
It's a bungalow.
The motel room. Okay, whatever.
That was really when he drives the van through it.
It's like from
that's a set piece.
It is
with guns.
That was a major part of the budget right there.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was super effective. Really great the way when the hole got blown through the door, immediately one of the vampires gets burned by the circle of sunlight.
Bill Paxton, he shoots out the door, opens up that hole, and then gets burned by it.
It's great. It's good. The barroom stuff, I thought the geography of the room wasn't well defined, and it was ridiculous that everybody sort of stood around there until it was their turn to be a victim. Like the guy standing with the pool cue just stood there, watched 3 murders, and never let go of the pole cue, and then he jumped out the window. Yeah, it's like, come on, there's a back door. Somebody should have been guarding the back door. You know what I mean? I'm just
I gotta take a whiz, and he just leaves, and that's
the pacing of it was off to me.
I could see that. It was kind of start and stop a lot of this film.
Yeah.
I thought that
it was redolent of the original barroom scene in Terminator.
Kind of like,
and then that dude is in Terminator 2 as the guy he takes
he takes his boot.
Oh really? That same actor?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
One of the guys in the bar, right?
Oh, that's
right, but then that's Cameron ripping Bigelow off because Terminator 2 wasn't for another few years.
No. He
I'm talking about Terminator 1, actually.
Yeah.
But in T2, the guy, he goes into the biker bar and gets the boots and the motorcycle and stuff.
I need your boots, your clothes, your motorcycle.
Your clothes, give them to me.
Can't let you take that.
Give me your clothes.
Exactly. But
one thing I liked about this is that it seemed very sensual. It seemed like it felt really good to be a vampire, except when you were hungry, in which case it felt really bad. but I did like that.
They were sloppy eaters.
It was erotic. They were sloppy eaters.
They were sloppy eaters.
That's because they didn't have any. They didn't have any canines. They didn't have
the fangs once.
No fangs.
I like this. I like the slitting of the throat and pouring it over the cup. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's so cool in the bar scene. Like that's.
I want my vampires to be like counts and shit.
That sort of
with the thing
aesthetic.
That's why this movie is so great.
Refined. It's rednecks.
Of all of that.
It's redneck vampires.
Rednecks.
Listen to them. The children.
I have to deal with rednecks in my everyday life. I want my vampires to be.
The thought of them never dying is like that. The fact that they're going to die is really the only solace that you have.
Right.
No, at the end of the film, where Caleb, I guess, our protagonist,
Caleb,
gets to be a person again, and also gets his girlfriend back. Do you think that was a cop out?
Yeah, a little bit.
I felt like a cop out to me.
Okay,
No,
so
I agree with Chris.
Point counterpoint. Chris says yes. Chris says no. Scott says yes.
Chris,
no.
Closed the deal for me. Like I thought it was a great ending.
This is the best part. It's the best part of this movie.
What
like,
did they get turned into humans?
Yeah, that they get to come back.
Again, part of the universe that this movie creates is
too fucking sentimental.
Let's face it, the concept of
it's not sentimental.
That's what Jim said.
Getting a blood transfusion
sentimental bullshit.
Back to a human isn't any dumber.
Well, it's fucking vampires, right? They don't exist. At first, I reacted more like on the bullshit. Like you can't just give a vampire blood transfusion and cure them of vampirism.
Yeah.
You can
Why
do
not?
whatever because they're not real.
I don't know the rules. Yeah, right.
Vampire rule is vampire rule. But imagine if the guy with Caleb got the thing, he actually got better because he's only barely a vampire.
Good yelling. Good yelling.
He finds his girlfriend comes over and like gives a big hug. The sun comes up and she bursts into flame and dies. That would have been a great ending. That would have been
saved it for you, Jim?
That they have the out of doing the blood transfusion.
Yeah, it was an out. It was a cop out
because he hadn't killed anybody.
He hadn't killed anybody yet, but his girlfriend had.
Although she didn't during the movie.
And they brought her back. Yeah, she did. She killed the truck driver.
Yep.
All right. Okay, she killed a little bit.
And who knows how long she's been alive? She's killed a bunch of people, so it's kind of a little squishy that it's like everything's fine and you're going to be my girlfriend now.
I do like they make the kid explode. Like Homer.
That was kind of fun, yeah.
Yeah,
I liked Homer's speech impediment too.
Well,
who remembers that kid from River's Edge?
Yeah,
that's interesting.
He was the shitty little brother.
Yeah.
That's right. I knew I recognized him from something. He was great because it was like in Interview with the Vampire, he would have been like the Kirsten Dunst character, like Claudia.
She was so much better.
Well, but there was a whole different vibe. It's like this is the shitty redneck version, so you get that kid.
Shitty redneck kid.
It's like we don't need more rednecks. It's like we don't need more lawyers.
Well, these guys were actively eliminating rednecks from the scene. The vampires were doing.
Yeah, that's true. They killed a lot of rednecks too, so that was their prey.
Well, so that's because
also the cops are shit in this movie.
They were not good.
Yeah, they really sucked bad.
That whole scene where he's in the bus station and the guy's just like, "Where are you going? Where are you coming from? Where are you going?" Like that. It's just like. God,
hey, he loaned him the money. Turned out he said, "Stay out of trouble" or whatever he said to him.
Just stay out of town.
That guy is also.
He
gave him a couple bucks though, didn't he?
He gave him some money so he could get the bus.
Give him $3 to get out of town and never come back.
I got more about the cure, the blood transfusion thing. Okay,
take it away, John.
So they're in the pickup truck with Dad. Caleb's in the pickup truck with Dad, and it's like out of the blue. It's like, do you know how to do a blood transfusion? And the justification is he's a vet, so I know how to do one, and I have a room where we can do it. Some of these vampires have been alive for like 1,000 years. No one ever thought of this. And suddenly in the truck on the way home, it's like, oh, what if we give you a blood transfusion?
They're assuming they would want to go back.
Right.
These people
because anyone
he's the only one who
wants to figure that out would have been killed by the vampires.
Because why, Jim?
I said because anyone who could have figured that out, a blood transfusion would fix them, had been killed by the vampires.
Fair point.
Especially if they're carrying bags of blood around, right? They're just bait.
Henriksen does not want to go back. These people are having too much fun.
Right. Yeah, they are. They're enjoying it.
They are very much in the like Blade level of vampires,
hedonism,
where it's just straight up. We're gonna do whatever we want to do and fuck it.
Yeah.
Like,
they're pretty much bulletproof, so why the hell not?
Yeah, they're not. They're from that universe, definitely.
when he takes both barrels of that double barrel shotgun in the stomach in the bar, and he's just like,
and they're busting his balls.
Yeah. And then when the dad shoots Lance Henriksen, he fucking spits the bullet out of his mouth.
That was great.
Yeah,
which leads to one of the
good
best
logic to
lines
that.
in the thing, which is like when you shoot somebody, they don't spit the bullet back.
Yeah.
You guys are just rattling off all the really great things that exist.
Yeah, it's too bad the rest of the movie sucks.
It doesn't
suck.
Yeah,
It
doesn't
suck. It's a good minor. To me, it's like it's really on a level with Terminator. I mean, Terminator's classic. It's iconic, but just in terms of like the quality of the movie making, it's not that far off.
It's below. It is. There's nothing. There's nothing in here that's iconic.
I think this shows where Bigelow's going to go as a director. Like, I think this is very much.
Who saw the follow-up? Who saw Blue Steel?
Nearer Dark?
No.
Blue Steel.
Who saw Blue Steel?
Near Darker.
No.
Darker, near.
Blue Steel? I saw Blue Steel.
Okay, so that was her follow-up to this.
Okay.
Yeah,
more darker, more nearer.
I think it shows where she's going to go. I think you see the like James Cameron, but with better acting direction that she's going to go in. And like, I think that's fucking cool. I think that's one of the really cool things about this movie is like you have that moment of it's like, oh, she took all of these actors from his movie and just pushed them to be better.
Yeah, repurposed them and gave him some nice stuff to do.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah,
you know what I thought they gave the best performance in the film. The one that really I thought actually bridged the sympathy gap, like we talked about last week, was the sister. She was really good. Yeah.
Except for that one shot where she has to turn around when the van's about to hit her.
Yeah. And that wasn't great.
I could have got a couple more takes on that.
Yeah.
I know the one you mean.
That wasn't.
Yeah, this movie was shot in 41 days.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I mean, I would like a word in a moment when you.
Okay. Why don't you take your?
Go ahead.
Well, I just so I
take your word, Chris.
Movie that I saw right when it came out, and I had this on Laserdisc, and the Laserdisc got a lot of play over the years. I put this.
I'm sorry for your friends.
I wrote this down. Like there's
no friends.
There's this
not anymore.
There's this trio of movies that it's all kind of like. I mean, we'll talk, I guess, probably more on the second one about the too much style, not enough style. Like there's a lot of style in this movie, and there's a tone.
Most style isn't best style.
There's a tone and a vibe. And I would put this next to The Hitcher, which was a year earlier.
Love The Hitcher so much.
Yeah,
Hitcher's good. And then a movie we've talked about, but no one's picked, but we should, The Beast. And they're all three these sort of like, I don't know what to call them, Westerns, but they take place in desert-like environments. And they all kind of have similar scores, which is like not the kind of score you're used to hearing in movies like this. It's more ambient.
Yeah, and kind of bottle movies. They're bottle movies too, with a limited cast.
The tone of this movie, the first time I saw it was like, whoa, this is different. Like no one ever says the word vampire. They don't have teeth.
Right.
In neither of these movies do they say vampire.
And there's just, again, the
maybe they say it in
Farsi. Was what got my attention in the first place. And then just that it, there's like all these great scenes of like the open landscapes of like the car going through. Like that all really still works for me. Like watching it this time, for it's probably like my 20th time I've seen this movie, knowing I was going to have to deal with you fuckers tonight. So I'm watching a little bit more critically. Like there are things, yes, the exploding gas truck like makes no fucking sense in the context. I think that Homer, the kid playing Homer, now that I've seen, I think Tad's the only other one watching Umbrella Academy. Like if I think about the guy,
the first season,
the guy who's playing the old man trapped in a little kid's body in Umbrella Academy, that's an old guy in a little kid's body.
Yeah, and this is not.
No,
this is a kid.
It's a kid. It's
He's
not,
trying, but he can't.
Doesn't really work. But I keep like I think this is a glossed up Roger Corman movie, basically.
Oh yeah.
No, but Corman has such a better understanding of like how you do this, and like I'm not saying that as a dig against Bigelow. It's more just like you have more experience in this space, and like I feel like her experience in this space is so lacking that it detracts from the movie overall.
Two things. Two things. Hold on.
It works for me. And when I think about like the movie poster for Near Dark says it's fun to be a vampire.
It is fun to be a vampire.
Which is exactly the one from Lost Boys.
Did not sell that concept. This movie did.
The Lost Boys absolutely
Lost Boys to me is like it's a music video meets Goonies, and it's like
fuck you.
No, but especially after seeing this, like I was much more on board with the more grounded pseudo-Western neo-Western vibe of this versus that other thing.
The Lost Boys isn't a Western. The Lost Boys is about growing up in California.
The Lost Boys is more of a music video, I think.
You're
right, Chris.
Half of it's Peter Pan. You know that.
I thought Lost Boys was Peter Pan.
Pretty much.
And also, it's fun. And this movie loses the fun at a certain point.
It's not as fun as it thinks it is. Two things. One.
Fuck you too.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, it's not as fun as it thinks it is. Well, I'm gonna stick by that. But the one thing about this, I saw it when it came to the theater, and I saw it a couple of years ago on cable, and it was like I'm just kind of getting through it, and it was like fine. But I saw it now on Criterion. The transfer is beautiful.
Yes,
the transfer is actually kind of half saved this film for me.
It still looks kind of rough.
It looks it's all shot in film outdoors.
The budget hurts it in some places. There's a scene. There's a scene towards the end where there's a lightning storm, and the lightning only lights up like 100 feet.
No, that was kind of sad.
Well, that was because
having lived in the desert.
The place they were in Texas had no anything going on. There was no rain. There was no anything. It was just like
they had to do something.
Production values were kind of struggling, but that was it. But now we're going to hear from Jared.
Let's see what Jared had to say.
Here we go.
Okay.
Then we'll do a Jim's Quarter and we'll call it.
Near Dark. I've seen this movie before, but it was
Take two.
Ready?
That's a bad sign.
No. I lost it for a second. It's fine.
Did you choke on your own bile?
I've seen this movie before, but was introduced to it very late in the game. I understand why people love this movie. This is not a bad movie, but I'm not crazy about it. The acting is pretty bad across the board, with the exception of Lance and Paxton. Although Paxton is giving 11 out of 10 Paxtons.
There it is.
It's not a problem.
Game over, man.
I like the story. I like the story and the cinematography for the same reason the Western vampire motif doesn't work for me here. You can see Bigelow developing as a director, and obviously she goes on to make much stronger films. Why did we not get to see Lance and Aliens Girl?
What?
Why did we not get to see Lance and Aliens Girl rip those dudes' faces off? The worst performance is the male lead. Yes, I agree with that. Just awful.
He's the only name I didn't recognize in the list of.
Well, he never goes.
Yeah, because he goes on to do absolutely nothing after this.
And he married Natalie Maines from the Dixie Chicks, and then apparently cheated on her or something, and she divorced him.
Wow.
He's handsome though, and I guess that's enough for Hollywood.
In Hollywood,
when it goes to cult status. Honestly, most of the time, I wish this movie. I wish I was watching The Lost Boys for the 1,000th time.
There it is.
Which is an even sillier movie. But
he's not even here, and he's wrong.
Knows it is and leads into it.
He's wrong in abstention.
Near Dark takes itself too seriously. It's not a thumbs down for me. In fact, it's a thumbs up. One of those thumbs up with the middle finger, because I would recommend this movie, but I kind of don't like it.
Well, just to throw in.
I'm sorry. I kept reading ahead in it, and it just
to see what you were going to have to say next. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have any. The thing about me is I didn't have any 80s nostalgia attached to this or to Lost Boys, which I only saw maybe 10 years ago. So there was no like heartfelt thing I was coming back to visit. I was just watching it, you know. And I thought it was pretty good, a little slow, and we've already sort of critiqued the problems with it. But I would give it, I would give it better than better than that.
Well,
I'm
no,
in
Jim,
here somewhere.
did Jim have anything to add before we do thumbs?
Oh yeah, go Jim.
You know, I was just looking at the thing behind you again, Scott, and it's like that's basically the scene from Bonnie and Clyde.
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
Gene Hackman gets
Same
shot
state too, I think.
And this movie
And
has a
Arizona.
lot of that. This movie has like, oh, that's from Terminator. Oh, that's from something.
Oh, fair
You know,
point.
and so, yeah, I think she does better. She does grow into being a director, but yeah, it was.
I can't watch this.
forgettable.
I can't watch this without thinking about Hurt Locker, and Hurt Locker is so much better than this.
Or
Yeah,
Zero Dark 30.
well, but Hurt Locker's like 30 years after this, right?
Yeah, it turns out if you work real hard at this shit, you get better at it.
You get better.
Yeah.
Again, my comparison to Lost Boys is strained because it's a hometown film, but it really quantitatively, I think it's a little bit better than this. I think I see what this film was.
I have compared this to the most.
Yeah,
like
same here, and so does Jared too. So, and, but
it was pretty funny.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's a good effort. I thought there's some scenes in here that are just excellent, but it's one that, like, we talked about this like a different film last week. I remember seeing it in the 80s, and I see it now, and it really hasn't improved. It's just it's what I saw off the screen at Del Mar. Same movie.
Yeah. It was. What did I say about one of the movies last week? It was like it's exactly like I remember it.
Yeah, exactly.
30 years later.
Yeah. So, all right, I guess we can do thumbs
I liked it then. I like it now.
I know it's true. Okay.
And on a nostalgia angle, I mean, the Tangerine Dream thing really puts it in the 80s, doesn't it?
Well,
The
that
Tangerine Dream
soundtrack was fun, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it on that level.
Oh man, but we have so much of a more fun soundtrack coming up.
But wait,
oh yeah,
we're actually rolling through this weird Tangerine Dream cycle right now.
I know
what's going on. Anyway,
yeah. Okay, so with wait a minute
I'll give Jared's here
with the finger.
Right. With Sorcerer.
You want to do it thumbs up with the finger? Remember, that's what he wanted. Yeah.
Sorcerer and this and Thief. That's 3 Tangerine Dream scores. We've
man, but Thief's score is so good.
Tangerine is it Tangerine Dream or Tangerine Dream?
Very good as well.
Sorcerer score is a fucking great record. Actually,
they were on a major tear by the time they made this. Like they made there's like a 2 or 3 year period where they seemed to be doing like every third movie that was coming.
Yes, I remember that. Yes,
until their sound got
between those guys and Vangelis just divided up Hollywood, and this did everything.
I remember somebody said at one point, I was listening to a radio show, and the guy said he listed off how many Tangerine Dream records there were, and he says not counting the 56 movie scores that they've done. And that was in the 80s.
My friend is buying vinyl, like nonstop buying vinyl, and she just keeps accidentally coming into Tangerine Dream scores. Like it's one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, this is another Tangerine Dream album, but it's a score. But
the year before was Legend. The year after was
Legend, right?
Yeah, see, those guys are busy.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were on break this weekend. Like they're like, whatever.
Phoned it in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean,
I'm here. Jared's here.
Right in the middle. Good execution. Didn't really enjoy
Until
as much as I thought.
The thing we're about to talk about, this was my favorite vampire movie for a long time.
Wow. Okay, I guess Chris has got.
I'm sorry on several levels, but